Hello, Wisconsin HOSA. My name is Noah Mutter-Schultz, and I am the Director of Competitive Events for Wisconsin HOSA this year, and I am joined with our Deputy Director of Competitive Events, Ms. Julie Williams. Today, the two of us wanted to come on and just do a competitor orientation as the Regional Leadership Conference and regional level of competitive events are soon approaching. And we just wanted to ensure that all of our competitors here in Wisconsin are fully prepared and have all the resources at their fingertips as we begin this virtual competitive events program. So a few important dates that I just want to make sure everyone has marked on their calendars for the regional level competitive events virtual program. The competitive event window will take place January 11th through January 29th, 2021. I know it's hard to believe we're already in 2021. 2020 is now in the past, but lots of important dates are coming up here this month as we begin the regional level competition. Starting with January 10th, the Ethics and Security Statement Form. That is going to be due for all competitors participating in a competitive event on the regional level. That's going to be due January 10th by 11:59 p.m. So be sure to fill out that form. There's only a few questions for you to review and then complete. As mentioned, competitive event window will open on January 11th at 12:01 a.m. and will conclude by 11:59 p.m. on January 29th. So it's important whether you're doing an online test or you're uploading materials to Tallo that you're completing all required materials and have those submitted by 11:59 p.m. on January 29th, because both the conference management system where you do the online testing and Tallo, those windows will close promptly at 11:59 and will not reopen after that. Then after the competitive event window has concluded, the CE management team and our lieutenants will be going through. We'll have virtual judging taking place, and then all of our RLC finalists and SLC qualifiers will be announced on February 15th during a recognition session that the Executive Council will be conducting. The State Leadership Conference registration will then open on February 20th and will conclude, registration will end on March 5th. So anyone who qualifies for state, make sure there's kind of a quick turnaround there, but that's because the state level competitive events program is going to have a quick turnaround and lots of dates coming up in March, early March for that as well. So make sure you guys mark your calendars. We don't want any competitor to miss out on submitting their materials by the required deadlines. And if you have any questions, please reach out to myself or the Wisconsin HOSA email.
So some general information and resources. We want to help you to be successful on this first regional leadership conference that's virtual this year. So on January 8th, you are going to be receiving an email from Wisconsin HOSA. And this email is very important. It's going to have information that's telling you obviously that you're registered for a regional leadership conference and giving you information so that you can be successful. The Wisconsin HOSA website has very important information we want you to all take note of. So the first link is the Virtual RLC Competitive Events and Recognition Policies and Procedure Handbook. This is a short handbook that we have created for you to be successful on this year's virtual RLC. So please open up this document, read through, find the information that you need to about your competitive event so that you know, again, those important dates and some of the policies behind that. The second link that we have for you is the Competitive Events and Recognition Policies and Procedure Handbook. Again, this is preparing you for your competitive events. When you go to the Wisconsin HOSA website, you're going to click on the competitive events page, and then it will say at the very top of that page, Virtual Competitive Events Program Resources Document. This is going to be your kind of one-stop shop where you can look at and click to our presentations, to slideshows, to information that you need to know about your competitive events. So on here it says the CE Resource Guides and Overview Presentation. Again, these were the recorded presentation and slides information that's been on the website. We also have the RLC 2021 Competitor Orientation. again, the recorded presentation. And then, as Noah had mentioned earlier, our ethics and security statement form that is going to be due on January 10th. This is going to be embedded also in that email sent from Wisconsin HOSA on January 8th. So please make sure it's a quick turnaround of only 2 days. So make sure you get that done on January 8th or 9th because it's due on the 10th.
Thank you, Julie. We just wanted to kind of do a brief synopsis of our online testing events, and then Julie will also talk about our skill events and then our Tallow events as well, and just some specific details important to all of these events and how they're going to be conducted now in this virtual program year. So for online testing events, if you're competing in CPR first aid, EMT, epidemiology, or life support skills, our emergency preparedness events that have an online testing component. All of our health profession events have an online testing component. Health science events, obviously, those are those online test events. Leadership events, healthy lifestyle has an online test, and extemporaneous writing does not have an online test, but I'll explain that one, the uniqueness of that here in just a moment. Teamwork events that have an online test are biomedical debate, creative problem solving, forensic science, and HOSA Bowl. So if you register to compete in any of these events, make sure that you review the upcoming slide and look for this information again in the virtual RLC handbook and other information we've posted on our website. Briefly talking quickly about extemporaneous writing, I have included that here, but it's not an online test that competitors will complete. Instead, they'll still use the online testing system this year for the virtual program, and that's how you'll receive your essay prompt and respond in that format. So it will use the same online testing system, even though it's not an online test. So be sure to still review this information. Online testing instructions and reminders. All RLC tests will be taken online. You can use a smartphone, tablet, or computer. These will be open book and open note tests. All competitors registered to take an online test will receive an email from HOSA Future Health Professionals. So this is in addition to the email all competitors will receive from Wisconsin HOSA. HOSA Inc. will be sending out a separate email on January 8th to anyone who's registered for an online testing event. And in that email will be provided your specific login credentials and additional instructions on how to log into the system to complete your test. So make sure you review that email. If you don't receive an email by the end of the day on the 8th or early morning on January 9th, be sure to email myself or the Wisconsin HOSA email account and we can troubleshoot that for you. Again, that additional email will only be sent to competitors who are taking or who are registered for an event that has an online test as described in the last slide. All competitors, again, as mentioned, must review and complete the ethics and security statement form by 11:59 on January 10th. Again, that will be linked into the email that Wisconsin HOSA will be sending out on January 8th. So a quick turnaround, but lots of important information in there to just review and type in your name and your chapter and your event to acknowledge that you've reviewed that before you compete in your event this year, now in the virtual format. For all team testing events, so again, looking at the last slide, those that were listed as teamwork and then CPR, first aid, and EMT, if more than one person is registered for that event, like you are competing as a team, then each individual on that team needs to complete the test, needs to log in to take the test within 1 hour of each other. Online tests are time-stamped, and so our CE management team will be going through to verify, making sure that all team members did log in and complete the test within an hour of each other. So that's a component that if you are in a team event, you'll want to make sure to coordinate with your team members ahead of time to select a day and hour time frame for everyone to log in and complete their test. If team members do not, if not all team members log in and complete that test within an hour, we will be assessing penalty points for the overall team score. So very important that you guys coordinate that and that those tests are completed within an hour of each other for the team events. Most tests have an essay question at the end, and it is really important that that each of you complete that essay within the time frame given. No additional time is given for that essay, and the essay is used on the regional level as a tiebreaker. So just make sure that you do complete that, as sometimes in different events we need to turn to the essay for a tiebreaker. Changes to testing time duration. This was determined in an attempt to ensure the integrity of online testing is maintained now that this year we're not having proctors assigned to the test. So dental terminology, medical terminology will now consist of a 45-minute testing window. So that amount of time has reduced compared to last year, as well as medical spelling will now have a 30-minute testing window. So make sure that you're planning ahead and keeping track of the time when you're taking these exams. Life support skills. This is an event for individuals who qualify with an IEP, one of our emergency preparedness events. In years past, there never was an online test associated with this event, but this year, with being in a virtual format, both life support skills and personal care, there were tests created, and this year we have an online test for competitors that are registered for life support skills, and that testing window is 90 minutes long. All right. And lastly, I'll just mention, if you need any technical assistance, as I've been stating, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or to the hosa.wisconsin@gmail.com email. That will be monitored daily throughout the testing window, and you can expect a response either from myself or our state advisor, Ms. Patron, within 24 hours. So make sure that you are communicating if you run into any technology errors or issues.
Okay, so kind of piggybacking off of online tests, for all of our skills events, you can see listed are 2 categories of emergency preparedness events, which include CPR first aid, EMT, life support skills, and then our health professions events category, biomedical laboratory science, home health aid, medical assisting, nursing assisting, personal care, pharmacy science, physical therapy, sports medicine, and veterinary science. So similar to what Noah had said in the previous slide for online tests, remember we need all of you competitors to please fill out that ethics and security statement form before midnight on January 10th. After you do that, and again, you get that email on January 8th from Wisconsin HOSA, again, to compete for this regional round 1 online test. That is what you will be competing if you have one of these skill events. It says here that, again, you will have specific login, kind of what Noah had said before, credentials and additional instructions. So again, that email is very important that you follow those directions in the email so that you can be successful for your specific competitive event. Be sure to review the online testing instruction sheet, again, that I had mentioned before, for any additional information regarding how online testing events will run during our virtual regional leadership conference. So for skill events, there will be 2 essay questions that have been added to each skill event for your online test. One essay question will be used as the tiebreaker on the regional level, and the other is the scenario-based essay that will be scored by judges for the competitors that qualify and advance for state level competition or state leadership conference. So you'll be watching your testing timer in the corner of the screen to allocate enough time to complete and submit your test. So make sure again that you watch that timer. There will be no extra time that will be added. So essays will need to be answered again within that testing window that has been allotted or given to you. Skills events typically consist of 2 rounds. So for those of you competitors who have maybe done a skills event in the past, in a live format, it's going to look a little bit different this year due to our regional leadership conference that's now virtual, right? So the online test is going to serve as round 1, and competitors that advance to round 2 are expected to then demonstrate a skill or skills in front of judges. This will be done live through our Zoom platform. So the online test will be the only item that is scored to determine our regional leadership conference finalists that will then compete and move on or advance to our state leadership conference qualifier list that's going to be coming out, as Noah mentioned, in February. So competitors that qualify again to compete on the state level will then advance to round 2 and will be expected to demonstrate a skill again in front of their judges live through our Zoom platform. So more information about that will be coming out after we conclude our regional leadership conference.
All right. If you are not registered for an online testing event or a skill event, but you are registered for an event that requires materials to be uploaded to Tallo, those would be our, for emergency preparedness, our public health event, leadership events, several different ones listed there on the screen, teamwork events, again, multiple different events listed there as well. So make sure you review this information and review the handbooks if you're registered for an event that does not have an online test, or as a skill-based event. Most likely, it's an event that requires some form of materials to be uploaded to Tallo. Similar to whether competitors are taking an online test or skill event, Tallo events as well, those competitors still need to complete the ethics and security statement form by 11:59 on January 10th. All competitors registered to compete in an event requiring materials to be submitted to Tallo on the regional level should be sure to review the following resources ahead of time. The event guidelines. This includes rubrics and instructions on how to access and submit items to Tallo. And then Wisconsin HOSA Competitive Events and Recognition Policies and Procedure Handbook, separate from the regional level one. But this includes the when do I compete and which round charts at the end of that handbook, which outlines what materials are required to be submitted to Tallo and lists the deadline. So for the regional level, all of those, that deadline will be January 29th by 11:59 as previously mentioned. All competitors participating in an event that requires an item to be submitted to Tallo must first create a Tallo profile. And you can use the link here. There's a tab on the HOSA.org website that provides additional information and instructions for members to create that profile. If you are competing in a team event, so any of these teamwork events listed here, public health as well, those events, only one team member now needs to upload their materials to Tallo. So this is a change from previous years where every team member was required to upload. Now only one member should upload the required materials to Tallo. So make sure that you communicate with your team members and designate one individual to do that by the deadline. Additionally, if the event requires a recorded video to be submitted, competitors must save their video, upload it to YouTube, and then upload that YouTube link to Tallo. No other formats of videos will be accepted, and this is to help ease the process for our judges, as well as maintaining equity across the board for all competitors. Once competitors have created their Tallo profile, you will then need to select the opportunity listed in Tallo for the respective event that you're registered for. So this is where you'll upload the required materials, and in each of those opportunities, there it's listed what's required. And so just make sure that you're referencing the event guidelines and then the Tallo opportunity ahead of time to know what all the materials you'll be expected to upload by that deadline. Again, if you need any technical assistance with Tallo, having issues uploading items, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or the Wisconsin HOSA email account. And again, that will be monitored daily throughout our competitive event window.
So in conclusion here, some important reminders we hopefully hope you've listened to and heard throughout this presentation. We want you to update your calendars with the important due dates so that you don't miss out on when you compete and you don't get any penalty points or anything like that for not taking your test within a certain time frame of your team member if that's one of your competitive events that you're doing. Also, don't forget to complete that ethics and security statement before midnight on January 10th. Remember that email is coming out from Wisconsin HOSA on January 8th. So that's coming up here this week. Have fun, and we really want you to work hard to unlock your potential as Wisconsin HOSA members. We look forward to the hard work and effort that you're putting forth in this competitive events program this year in an unprecedented time in a virtual format. So we are really wishing you the best of luck, Wisconsin HOSA.